In this episode, I interview Mr. James Wedmore, who has been my mentor since 2016. Now, James, when he launched his flagship program, Business by Design, back in 2016, he started with a $16,000 launch, which for a lot of people, hey, 16,000, that's great. And in just over 6 years, he has now taken his program to a $5 million plus launch. And there's a lot of things that I've learned from James over the years about business. But even more than business, I've learned so much about ways of being and how he thinks and the beliefs he holds as a high-level digital CEO. And so James shares all in this episode. He's probably going to share some things that you haven't heard from James before. So stick around. I'm Adam Kiddoo, and it's time to master the art of real heart alignment, where you live, work, and play from your personal power as energy aligns, your gifts flow, and life simply works. These life-changing conversations are designed to help you to see what you're not seeing, hear what you're not hearing, and to be who you're not being, as the world needs more heart-centered leaders now more than ever. Are you ready to say no to living a half-hearted life and say yes instead to boldly living from a place of real heart alignment? Welcome to the Adam Kiddoo podcast. And without further introduction, I bring you Mr. James Wedmore. Woo, 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 woo.
Oh, he said introduction instead of adieu.
Yeah, we were talking about
adieu.
Without further ado.
So I was very confused about that because it says, without further ado, I bring you my guest. But the only adieu that I found is the French meaning to say goodbye.
And that's not fitting.
That doesn't make any sense. Without further saying goodbye, I bring you my guest.
Yeah.
I must be searching the wrong version of it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And what's cool, I got to say real quick, success leaves clues. Mr. James likes to look up definitions of words.
Oh, I think words are extremely powerful. The origin of words, everything, like words carry, a frequency to them. Everything we do in our business starts with words, the power of words, simple phrases, simple things that can completely crack someone's brain wide open, and blow their mind. So yeah, I'm always curious and fascinated by the words we use and choose. And it's important.
Yeah, beautiful. And in this conversation, great place to start. It's just organic. We weren't planning this, but early stage entrepreneurs, myself included. I even said the word try early on, and James said, "What? Try?" Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I said, I really like the background. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm like, wow, I really like it. He's like, yeah, trying to, spruce it up a little bit. I'm like, trying?
It's a limiting word
there, or succeeding. Yeah, we use the word trying a lot and feeling a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of times where feeling is good. But it's like, I feel like this interview is not off to a good start. Or you could just say, this interview isn't off to a good start. You know what I mean? Like you just take out I'm just kidding. It's going great, Adam. We're doing amazing. They love us. They love us. But like, think about that when people say things like, I kind of feel like this is an important conversation. No, This is an important conversation. Like, it's just so much more powerful,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my point across. I'm getting my point across, these wishy-washy words that we say to ourselves, it kind of weakens our sentiment about things. It's like, no, you're not trying to spruce it up. You are sprucing it up. You're up leveling the show, the design, the set. You're not trying, you're doing it. And
powerful.
When you guys, it is powerful. And when you start to pay attention, awareness is like everything, to the words you're using, the stories you tell, the sentences that you say, it's a game changer. People, but it is one of those things. I'm going to tell a story and then we'll get into it. Okay.
You got it.
Because people don't believe me right now. And that's the problem. Because I didn't believe this either when I first started hearing it. But I want to tell you one sentence that I said that unlocked, and this is going to sound so cheesy and like hyperbole, has unlocked about $20 million in sales. Come on. No way. Okay. So about three and a half years ago, I'm on a bus for a mastermind that I was in, and we were doing a field trip. And I'm sitting next to somebody who's like a peer that I'm just getting to meet, and they're kind of asking me questions about my business. So I'm telling them. And I said, I'm like, yeah, we've built this business. We've built it to like $2+ million a year. And then I said the next sentence, I was like, yeah, and it's like, we keep things really simple. Like, we offer this program and we don't even take advantage of affiliates, and we do really well. And she goes, it's great when you hang out with successful entrepreneurs because they're just so immersed in like personal development and stuff. So it's just like when you're open to it, and it's like, oh, and she just goes to me and she goes, I just want to point out one thing that you just shared. Do you have any idea what the word is that I shared that came to her attention, Adam?
I didn't catch it when you said it.
Yeah, it's tricky. I didn't catch it.
Mm-hmm.
She said, it's very interesting. You said we haven't taken advantage of affiliates yet. Taken advantage. Huh.
Oh, good catch.
And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, do you feel like asking other people to promote you means you're taking advantage of them? And I was like, whoa. I'm like, there has been a like guilt, feeling bad to ask people to promote. And she did the most beautiful coaching reframe. She's like, have you ever promoted anybody else? I said, of course. Did you feel taken advantage of? I was like, no. In fact, affiliate revenue is my favorite money. It's my favorite revenue to come in. I love doing it for the people that I love and support. She's like, there you go. That's when our launches started going from like $500,000 to 2 million, 4 million, 6 million.
Wow.
And so it's like, in a way, it's hyperbole when I'm like the one sentence and the one word that like cranked out 20 million plus, whatever it's been now, a couple of years, 3+ years later. But there's a lot of truth to that. And I never would have spotted it. But you said earlier, success leaves clues. Language leaves clues.
Yeah.
Your language leaves clues. And, we go through the day, 90% of the day on autopilot, right? So you say the same things you always say. We have thought habits. We have verbal habits. Like we say the same things, think the same thoughts, do the same things over and over again. And it's like when someone there in your life can listen, actively listen to what some of the things you're saying, and you're willing to like coach that, stop that, reprogram that, re-say that, that's everything. But can you imagine that? I wasn't bringing on affiliates because I felt guilty. I felt bad. And this individual allowed me to spot it, become aware of it, and shift it in a heartbeat. And I can't remember the exact number, but I want to say like 150 to 170 affiliates last year. And I think we have a little bit more this year for us. And every year our affiliates say, this is the best experience I've ever been a part of. I learned so much, and I can't believe that I was showing up bigger for you than I have for my stuff, which means I can go back to my own stuff and show up even bigger.
Yeah.
All from one sentence, one conversation, 30 seconds on a bus ride.
Yeah. And the growth isn't necessarily just from the affiliates per se, just so the audience is catching on. It was the belief, because even if you had brought on affiliates, you're open to that. You still have this belief that they're taking advantage.
And I feel guilty. I feel bad.
Don't want to bug them
that,
and whatever it may be. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people learn just so much from part of it. It's like they get so much else out of it that it's like, wow, I can't believe I was being selfish and not doing this sooner. So words are powerful, folks. The thoughts we think and all that. So
yeah. And this is a cool way to kick off this call, because one of the things I'm fully immersed in right now is learning and relearning all the beliefs that I had to go through early on as an entrepreneur, because I see it so often in my clients. There's like, oh, I've been through that. Oh, I've been through that. Oh, I've been through that. Now I'm like, let me pause real quick, because I want to make sure to take a moment to capture these, so I know exactly where people are in these moments. So I want to create training all around this to bust these beliefs early on, because that's huge.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am going to create training all around this.
Yes.
Yeah. So, let's get rid of those I want words too. Like it's great to want. We'll always want, but like as soon as you want, either how badly do you want it, right? Like if I ask Adam, scale 1 to 10, like how badly you want to create this training, it's a 10 for him because he's fully immersed in it. So let's move from desire to intention. I intend to do this. I am doing it. I'm going to do it. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful it's a shift. And people go, oh, this is semantics. It's like, okay, well, you can stay in your semantics and tell me how that goes for you. But most people just stay in wanting. Most people are just talking about their ideas all day long. And I've been doing this a really long time. I'm very grateful, very humble. I've had a lot of success. I remember Adam being at an event we had years ago. I mean, that was like 4+ years ago. It's crazy,
like 8.
right?
Been to like 8 of them.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, but you were like at one of the first ones, right?
Yeah.
And when people start hanging around me and they see like, oh, we built a 8-figure company and have all these results and stuff. And, you know, people start going like, oh, there must be some secret to success, you know, that he's not telling us or something. I do have stupid little silly secrets to success. I don't think they're secret, but they're important and people just gloss over them. There must be something more complicated. But a lot of times the experience people have when they hang out with me is they're like, oh, he just does what he says he's going to do. Yeah, that's it. Wow, he just goes out and does it. Yeah. And the reason more people aren't doing that is because they're in their head, like I was, overthinking and over worrying and doubting. So the great metaphor is like a car. If you got in your car and you wanted to go anywhere today, you could put it in your GPS and it would tell you turn by turn by turn how to get there, how long it would take, the best routes. And you just got to follow directions. And most people do it.
Yeah.
You get in your car and you do it. But when it comes to like building a business or creating something, even with the turn-by-turn instructions, it's amazing to watch people not do it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Is this really where I should start? Or, oh, what if this happens and that doesn't work like this and da-da-da-da-da-da. And we get in our head, we self-sabotage, you get that whole imposter syndrome. So it's kind of like you have the brakes on the whole time. So it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to go in the car and I'm going to go, but you got the brakes on. And so these beliefs and stuff that Adam and I immerse ourselves in completely, because you get obsessed about what caused my own success and how can I replicate that for others. And when you get down to it, a lot of it is beliefs. And the beliefs are the brakes on your life, plain and simple. Is you look at someone like me today, and it's only because I've gone through so much of my own darkness and shame and crap and all the stuff that I've had to heal and work through and learn and all that type of stuff, is today it just looks like effortless action. Oh yeah, I'm going to go do this. And then you do it. Hey, let's go do this. Done. Oh, we should do this. Done. And it just action, input, output, result, you know? And yeah, that's simple, but it's like, oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's completely it. But it's all the unprogramming we got to do, you know, it's all the weeds we got to pull out. It's the brakes we got to let off. And we got a lot of them because we're humans.
Yeah. So tell me, what were some of the beliefs early on that you had noticed? There's a couple that I want to call attention to just to prime the conversation a bit. One was you were kind of having a funk. You were having a meltdown back in the days when you were, you know, trying, let's just say, to get your business off the ground. You went out and you actually broke your keyboard and you stepped outside.
Yeah.
And kind of just had a moment to laugh and say, this is going to be a great story.
Yeah, that was, and then I get to tell it. It's kind of crazy how that happened. The short version of it was a lot of years of struggle. I had to move back in with my parents. I'm in my late 20s. That's kind of embarrassing, you know? And what I didn't understand, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to sound really braggadocious for a second, but I'm really smart. And I'm very hardworking. Those were my strong suits. Okay. So smart, I'm not saying that to brag or anything. I'm saying like, I got 4.0 grade point average. I didn't get a full ride. I got like a 50% scholarship to a super expensive school, you know, blah, 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 blah. So in my mind, I'm sitting there like, I'm smart and I'm really hardworking. I got this. And you know what? I didn't, because as smart as I thought I was, my ego was smarter. And I had no idea that it was 3 steps ahead of me every time. And chances are for you guys too, we self-sabotage like you wouldn't believe. And then we justify it so that we don't even think we're self-sabotaging. Let me give you an example. How many times have you used logic to keep you safe and in your comfort zone. Oh, I really want to do this, but someone else is already doing it. So that means it won't work if I do it. You just got completely hoodwinked by your ego. You know what though? The timing just isn't right because my audience is moms and it's the summer and they like to travel right now. So I just can't launch yet. Hoodwinked.
Yep.
You just got bamboozled by your ego and you didn't even know it. So that's what was happening to me. I was so quote unquote smart that I was outsmarting myself, and I had every logical reason why not yet, not now, and not me. But I kept working. I used that hard work mentality. Push, push, push. I got addicted to Adderall. Did you ever take Adderall?
Yep.
Yeah. Man, that is crack. That's speed, dude. That is, wow. Not good. I'm not recommending it. It's awful. So bad for you.
Yeah.
But wow. I was getting up, popping 20 milligrams. So I was a little overweight when I graduated college. Burgers and beer was my diet for 4 years. So I was 220 something pounds. And at the lowest with the Adderall, I was 144.
Man.
I looked like, yeah. And I would just I would pop the 20 milligrams, and I just do this in front of the computer. Type. I was building my own web pages and learning HTML code design, all that type of stuff.
Is that where the term "work until your eyeballs bleed" come in?
Yeah. And I thought that was the answer, man.
Yeah, me too.
I am the quintessential proof that I can outwork. And I was younger then. So I'm a little older now, but back in my day, I could do 14. I could outwork anybody. Bring it. 14 hours, sun up, sun down in front of the computer the whole time. Just give me some music and some Adderall. And that kind of feels like cheating, but like we tested his urine, and he's been doping at the job. That's illegal. It's against the rules of business. He was cheating the whole time. What a sham.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, things weren't working at all, man. And it was years of that, dude. I had some things to learn, some maturity, some patience, some other lessons as well in there. And I had a lot of anger issues. I think I was just angry at myself. So yeah, I think something happened where like something didn't save, something froze, and like I'd lost hours of work. And that was my whole trigger. Like that was the thing that would always get me the most. Like, what a waste. I just wasted time. So I punched the keyboard and went outside, and I was going to like scream out at the sky, but probably call the cops on me, the neighbors. And it's amazing. This is the power of like one thought.
Yeah. And a pause.
And it was like, I turned a corner because I'd reached a low. It was a real low for me, man. I was really like, I'd already lost everyone in my life, friends, girlfriend, all that stuff. And it was just like me committing my whole life to this and nothing working. And I had one thought, and that's the thing is you don't need to reach that far for some of these thoughts. You just got to grab the next one, and it's a little bit better. I'll take it. And it was, at least this will make a great story one day. And then the next thought after that was, you mean I'm going to share this one day? And then the one after that, so I mean, I won't always be like this. It'll get better. That means it's going to work. It's just a matter of time. And like, that's all it took for me to round the corner and kind of, I had this sense, I had this knowing, like, we don't always know when, and we don't always know how. That's not always our job, but to have your stubbornness, your tenacity, your resiliency, and your commitment to the outcome is what is required of you for entrepreneurship. If you're not willing to give it, then get the heck out of the way. Adam, you're one of the most like committed, stubborn, tenacious individuals, right? Yeah. So many of us that have been around a while have all faced defeat, have all faced struggle and letdown as part of the journey. And I know so many people that would have given up. Years ago, what you did in your first year, they would have given up in 6 months. Yep.
I was around a lot of people that gave up. Right. And I still looked at them. I'm like, they're going to come back one day. They're going to come back and they're going to start crushing it because my heart's in it. Cause I saw they had the potential and everything they needed to succeed.
But they didn't see that. And that's the heartbreaking part. It's like,
that comes down to likely beliefs and what they're telling themselves in their heads. And I will remember, and share with the audience one moment that, and this is the power too of having like-minded people like James and mentors around. I was at a BBD live event, probably my fourth or fifth. Yes, I drank the Kool-Aid and went to all of them. And I told James, I went up to him, I said, hey, I'm getting some success. I've been doing it. I've been following the plan. I've been doing the thing. You know, BBD has changed my life. It's given me so much more structure and process versus literally pulling out the air. Where do I go? What do I do?
Yeah.
You helped me to focus. And I told you, I said, I'm getting momentum. You said, good. All I can say is just keep going. Those words ring true
Rocket
to
science.
me today. I feel that today.
Yeah, man. Like the thing that people don't understand, and I talk a lot about this. Here we are, we run a business that sells digital products. Started this in November of 2007. Nothing, most of you, 90% of people listening, 95%, if you've never done this before, like if you're not already doing it, and even if you are doing it and it's not seen traction yet is a powerful word.
Yep.
Nothing in your life has prepared you for this. So like chillax a little bit. I know, let's bring that word back. Chillax. The beliefs is a big thing, but skills and capabilities are too. Mm-hmm. The part of beliefs is a way of thinking. It's reprogramming how we think of things. So here's the thing is when we talk about beliefs, we can start to clump beliefs together into like a package, like a type of belief. And I'll tell you this right now, and I don't mean any disrespect or anything to anybody. Some people get really triggered by this and, you know, that's their own beliefs coming up. But most people, myself included, were groomed and trained to have an employee mindset. If you look at school, public education system, I went to private and public school. I did both. And they both prepared me for the world of working for someone else. Don't believe me? Look around. You had to ask for permission.
To go to the bathroom.
To go to to ask a question. And a lot of times the teacher wouldn't ask it because you know how you know when you have an entrepreneur on your hands is when they raise their hand and say, why do we have to learn this? How is this going to help? And that question was snuffed out of us. You were discouraged from questioning, why is this important? Especially when people carry around, like, I know it's so funny, and educational, like purists would just so be upset with me, but it's like we carry around a calculator wherever we go today. Like, why do we need to spend an hour doing long division? You'll never do it again.
Yeah.
You know, not so much stuff that you do learn that is not really applicable, but go beyond the content and go to the environment and the energy behind what you were really taught, how you were taught to be in school. And it set us up to be good, hardworking, permission-seeking, rule-following employees. Okay? And I'll take that one to the grave with me. I'm sorry, but the world of entrepreneurship, completely different game. Now, people say there's, but James, we need employees. What are you saying? We should all be? No, I didn't say any of that. Here's what I'm saying. Imagine what was like a sport you played growing up?
Basketball.
Imagine you played basketball since you're a little kid. Dad shows you how to throw a three-pointer. You get a coach. You join the team, and you get really good. You've been practicing for like 10 years. And then the next day you say, let's get on the football field and play a game and win. That's what people are doing. They're taking the rules of one game and they're completely, without even batting an eye, because they don't have the awareness, they're using the rules of the first game to play the second game and they wonder why they lose. Yep. Let me give you an example of this. But before I give you the example, the basic idea is that you're in a permission-based paradigm. Adam's heard me talk about this before. You're operating from a permission-based paradigm. You're waiting for permission. You're waiting for people to tell you what to do. You're waiting for people to tell you you're good enough to do it. You're ready to do it. You're the expert now. This is never going to happen. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to tell you it's your turn. What are you waiting for? It's not going to happen. No one has told me to do it. No one has given me permission. That shouldn't be a bad thing, folks. That's a good thing because you really want your life to be created by someone out there that says what you can or cannot do, or you want to grab it by the reins and run your own life.
Yeah. And I'm
Give
telling
yourself
you,
permission.
yeah. And I had a huge calling. Like I just knew right away, especially in 2008 when people were just losing their jobs. And, you know, I knew two people who had worked at a company for over 20 years. Things went bad and it's good luck to you. They had a very specialized skill to where they couldn't really take that elsewhere. And to me, I felt that for them. So I knew at that standpoint, I wanted to, you know, create something for myself and have people that I'm helping to, you know, take care of and build something that I'm passionate about, because I didn't want to just fall into that same thing because it's bound to happen again. And so,
the idea that it's safer to get a job is very, very debatable.
Yeah. So here's what happened. Two things happened. Out of school, I lost a very integral part of my identity, which, like you said earlier, was basketball and sports. Like that was my, that was me. I was the athlete, you know, I had friends because I'm always playing sports and all that. So then I got in the business world and I needed to create a brand new identity for myself. And I struggled for a while. And it wasn't until 2016, James Wedmore presented this offer for Business by Design. And I just knew it was this feeling that two things. One, I could not continue to, and even though I was learning and you know, trying things out, I couldn't continue to go at my own, because I didn't have enough structure. I literally was going to go to the end of the world and back, making all the mistakes myself. So it was like, you gave me a roadmap, if you will, the Lego manual for online businesses. And the other thing that I got, which was instrumental, was a community, people who are up to big things. And here's where I really started geeking out on beliefs. I went to the very first Business by Design Live in January of 2017. There was 45 or so of us. And I went to that event thinking I was broken. I've got all these limiting beliefs, all this mindset stuff. I'm inadequate. Somebody else is doing it, all this stuff. And I go there and there's so many entrepreneurs that I look up to that they're saying the same thing. You know, I've got this inadequacy thing and I'm putting myself out there, but I'm just kind of like nervous to do so. And I don't want to be rejected and all this. And I was like, wow, we have these universal things that we're all navigating through. And it took getting in a program like yours to really be able to start navigating those waters for sure.
And here's, I'm just going to share this. It's pretty universal for most of us. Those feelings, you know, it's like, I would say 99% of people walk around with those, their own version of them, of course. And if it's there for you, any of that imposter syndrome, doubt, who am I to be doing this, all that type of stuff, I'm not good enough. It masks itself. Like I said, the ego can be a little tricky SOB. I'll tell you this right now though, man, there's no way around it.
Yep.
You think you don't get to deal with your shit and still grow the successful business? Good luck.
Yep.
That's the only way, is through the eye of the needle, my friend.
Yep.
And that's the most beautiful thing, because what that will tell everyone, and especially yourself, is when you have that $1 million business or that 6-figure business or whatever, it's not about those things. It's about who you had to become to make that happen.
Yep. And
that's the ultimate. This is why I tell people today, I said, you got to get this through your skull. The doing is the destination. It's not the money. You know, money is one of the, they've done studies on it. Money is one of the lowest forms of motivation. Once people have enough money where they don't have to worry about it, it's like, if you could just rack up like, okay, here's our bills, here's our expenses, and here's our basic quality of life. And you came to that number and you just knew that you were going to get that money every single month. So you never had to worry about money. Beyond that, most people are not driven beyond that very much. It's okay if you are, if you're like, not me, I want gajillions of dollars. But at the end of the day, everything external, like money, it's because you believe it'll give you something else. It's going to give you something. Now, for a lot of people, like you go, yeah, if I just had like 10 grand a month, that'd be amazing. And I just guarantee not a million. And I'm like, I'd say, what's that give you? And they'd be like, it gives me peace of mind that I never have to worry about money again. That's what it gives you. And I think that's what people are craving. That's what they, that's what they need. That's what they want. Right. But beyond that, people aren't, being too driven by like, I need $1 million a month. So where the next step, evolution, iteration, I think we can get into this today, is, and what drives someone like me is that it's not about the money at all. It's about two things. It's about the work you're putting out there, who you're helping, how you're helping them, and who you become in the process. And if you can just get on board with that, like I really today don't think there's anything more powerful and something that should excite people more is when you get out of bed every day, it's like discovering more of who you get to be, what you're capable of, what's possible for you. What else? That should be driving people. The doing is the destination. But before we jump into anything else, let me go back to this, give an example, because I opened that loop and I want to fulfill my promise. That's integrity. The difference between one example of the employee mindset versus the entrepreneur mindset. So if you, first of all, let me take 2 steps back. Here's one of the things the employee does that they had no idea. And you let me know, Adam, if you used to do this. When the employee who doesn't know their employee says, I'm going to start a business, and they speak it into existence, power your words, breathing life into your business, most struggling, air quotes, entrepreneurs, you can tell I'm saying air quotes, even though you can't see me. They think they just created a new job for themselves. And the moment you say I have a business, you have, I think Jim Collins, Good to Great, uses this metaphor, a bus. You have a vehicle. There are seats in that bus or in this vehicle. Every seat represents a role. You start a business today and you think you only have one role, you have like 10, you have like 15. You have customer support, you have copywriter, you have the teacher, you have the social media manager, you have your tech, you have your assistant, you got the operations that's doing taxes and all that type of stuff, and HR and legal and all that stuff. That I just named off 8 without even getting started. Okay. So the moment you say I have a business, you create a vehicle that has a minimum of 7 or 8 roles. And then people listening to this, and someone's going to be saying this, and so I love you, but I'm going to call you out. And they say, no, it's just one. James, it's just me. Oh, I get that it's just you. It's you in 10 different roles. And now you know why you're so freaking busy all the time. You're doing 10 jobs. You're doing a really great job because you're doing 10 jobs. And you're only working 12 hours a day to do 10 jobs. That's actually really amazing. Give yourself a freaking break. But is this sustainable? So that's the thing that the employee does. That's the first mistake that the employee makes. They think they're trading when they quit their job. They think they're trading one job for another. Did you make that mistake? And it's
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's I did.
And I'll say real quick, one of the things that kept me stuck for the longest time was I can't afford to have any help.
Right. Well, okay, James. So I can't afford to have any help. Well, first off, the big reason why you can't afford anyone is because you haven't hired anyone.
Yep.
It becomes this paradoxically huge cosmic joke of a catch-22 all wrapped in one, because the reason you can't afford anyone is because you're doing the low-level activities yourself. So you don't have the time, the bandwidth, or the mental capacity, the energon cubes, to focus on the 5% activities that are going to generate the revenue, right?
It was keeping me safe and stuck. It was keeping me busy. It was keeping me from showing up.
Busyness.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget the Odyssey. Odysseus is sailing the sea and he's trying to get back home after the Battle of Troy. And there's this whole bit where the sirens are going to come and they're going to seduce him. And so remember, he has to put the blindfold on. He has to put the stuff in his ears, and then they have to tie. I think they took the stuff out of his ears. I don't remember, but everyone else, I think they had to put it in their ears or whatever. But they had to wrap him to the pole so he could hear it but not be seduced by it. And that's what your frickin' to-do list is, folks. You have your morning coffee. You watch one of those stupid motivational YouTube videos. They're like, you can do it. And you're like, you're right, I can. Today's the day. Let's do something. And you look at that to-do list and you're like, yeah, clean out my inbox. Yeah, work on my About Me page. And it's like, who are you fooling? You ain't fooling me.
Yep. And
that's why it's like, I'm a tough coach, because I'm like, you're not going to build your business, working on these little insignificant, lame to-dos that don't do anything. That is your siren distracting you and sending you closer to your own business demise, because that will always be there. I've been doing this for 14 years. I've gone into the Adderall world of working 14-hour days, and you name it. Hardworking person. And let me tell you one thing, with all the success, all the failures, and everything in between, I have had to-do lists for the past 14 years. And I still to this day have never gotten a single one done. They're always piling up.
Mm-hmm.
It's always there for me the next day. And as soon as you think you're about to get it all done and get caught up, boom, 5 more things. And if that's how you're running your life and your business, like I'm just an employee with a to-do list, you got it all wrong. Because that to-do list will run you right into the freaking ground. So,
and you've asked, and real quick, you've asked me or somebody on a coaching call too. It's just like, somebody's like, I'm not growing my business isn't growing. And you're like, how many offers have you put out? Ooh.
Hey,
maybe
it's really
like
simple.
1 or 2 all year to a few people. What are you avoiding here, right?
Exactly. You want to, this is guaranteed. You can take this to the bank, and this is not some false promise or anything. I mean, just prove me wrong on this. I can guarantee everyone here that by doing this one thing, you can make more money this year than you did last year. The next 12 months versus the last 12 months, however you want to measure it. Put more offers in front of more people. Solve big problems, reach more people. Ask for the sale more often. If you asked for it 10 times last year to 10 people, and you asked for it 20 times to 100 people, whatever, however you want to slice it, doesn't matter to me. It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
People are going to say no. You know, I always say this in our launch here last year, we did like $5 million. It was amazing. It was awesome, especially in like right in the height of COVID and all these things. And just to see how important it is that people see like bringing their business online and the success that people have had since bringing it online. Like we're calling them COVID businesses now because they were forced to. It's really sad. Like people were forced to come online. Natalia was one of our students. She had a yoga studio in California, had to shut it down. So she just started, hey guys, don't worry, I got you. We'll just do Zoom classes. And she had a blast doing it. She's like, this is amazing. But they were just with our existing students. She goes, what if I could reach more people? She's done like $150,000 to $200,000 since she shut her business down, just selling an online course called Yogi Flight School, helping people do like advanced inversions with yoga and stuff. And she's reaching people like everywhere now. And I asked her one question too. I was like, can I ask this? Is this inappropriate? Like, is it more profitable than the yoga studio? She just starts laughing. She's like, well, don't be ridiculous. Like, are you kidding? She's like, with the rent and the employees and the equipment, she's like, I was lucky if I was barely breaking even. You know, it's like, geez.
Yeah. Yep.
That's amazing. Anyways, so watch this. So employee mindset. Here's how you know when you're operating from the employee mindset. So if the employee goes, I want to make more money in my business, where do you go? Where do you go? What's the first thought? What's the first thing you do when you say, I want to make more money? Here's what the employee does. They work harder. They work longer, more intense, faster. They rely on effort. That's the employee. That's how employees are paid. Oh, I'll provide value if I work longer hours. They literally trade time for dollars. You've heard that so often. But what's the problem with that? Time is finite. Your energy is finite. So you're working on finite constraints. You only got so much time and energy in a day. So eventually that's going to crap out on you. The entrepreneur, or what we call in our world, the digital CEO, because that role exists in your business. The CEO exists. You're either in it or not.
Yep. In
it to win it. So when the entrepreneur goes, I want to make more money, they do, instead of saying I'll work harder, longer, faster, I'll pull all-nighters, I'll work on the weekends. You know what they do instead? It's so simple. They just give themselves a promotion. They promote themselves to higher value activities. They work on higher value activities. And what's so funny, this is part of the big joke. You're going to laugh. The higher value activities require less time, effort, and energy from you. So they end up working less. I mean, it's as simple as that. So the employee goes, I'm going to expand and work longer. And the entrepreneur goes, I'm going to go up and work on higher level. And that, I can give you example after example after example after example of that. But that is everything. And this is very counterintuitive, but the math just don't add up if you're not doing it this way. Because people say, you know, Adam, I want this year to be the year that I take my business to $500,000. But right now I'm not there. So I'm doing all this myself and bada bada bing, bada bada boom. And so what they end up doing is doing tasks like we've done outsourced by a virtual assistant for less than $10 an hour, because the US dollar still, believe it or not, has very powerful weight in other countries like the Philippines, right? And that's their dream, to work for, someone like a US entrepreneur, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing $10 an hour tasks, okay? Folks, the math don't add up. The average person works 2,080 hours, work hours. That's if you did like 40 hours a week. Most entrepreneurs are working more, but regardless, $10 an hour times, let's just round up, 2,100 hours is $21,000. That's below the line of poverty in our country. So when you work 2,100 hours a year on $10 an hour tasks, and you don't make $500,000 that year, now you know why. It's very simple. I'm not saying this is easy, but it's very simple. Everything that you work on, everything you say yes to, everything that you say, I'm going to go do this thing, is a no somewhere else. And it's probably, for most people that are stuck, if things aren't working, it's probably a no on the things that you should be doing, those 5% activities.
So what happens is we must let go to let in.
Yeah, you got to let go of that stuff, and people have control. It's like, no, you want to do it right, you got to do it yourself. That's your ego.
I can do it for less, and it'll take me less than it would be to show somebody to do it. All that stuff.
So who's going to craft your irresistible offer? Who's going to teach it? Who's going to present it on that webinar? Who's the face? Who's creating that amazing content? That's where you need to be, folks. But you're off doing like, well, let me set up this Zapier linking to active campaign so that when this
took me
happens,
4 hours, but I got it
there's
done.
4 hours of something that I could have done in 2 with a VA that I'm paying $5 an hour. So I paid $10, got it done the same day, where I got to go save my time, effort, and energy and go work on my offer, go work on building a relationship with somebody, or, creating better messaging. That's where I'm saying is like, it's not really rocket science, but if you're trying to do it all yourself, then you're probably only focusing on the low value stuff anyways, because that's what's safe. That's what's comfortable. Even if it's hard, it doesn't put the ego at risk. There's nothing at stake when you like build a landing page. There's nothing that threatens your ego at that. You can build landing pages all day and the world never sees it. But when you go on that Facebook Live and say, hey, here's what I got.
So
here's what I'll do for
you.
you.
Control, big one. Letting go, big one. And I would dare to say that what a beautiful transition into maybe a possible spiritual conversation.
Oh, we can get all weird and woo-woo.
Yes. Yeah. And so one of the things I was going to bring up too is being you have shown me so much about business. There was times where you were doing coaching calls 4+ hours. It was supposed to be 90 minutes, 2 hours, but you're going for 4 hours. And back in the day, I'd do a 90-minute training, a 60-minute webinar. I was fried.
Toast.
Because there was so much fear, so much worry, insecurities, doubts, baggage. Am I doing this right? All this stuff that was pulling at me the whole way. And so when you can let go and infuse your time and energy, like you said, into the activities that are going to produce the most results in your business, flow, alignment. And so tell me a little bit about that. And I did want to break into that because here recently I started tapping into that myself. It's hard for me to step away from these coaching calls. I'm like, okay, one more.
Yeah.
But what is it? So we can get a glimpse behind the curtains a little bit and see where people could possibly step into in their business when they're feeling they just want to serve. So what is it?
Well, I think there's several ingredients. And first of all, it's really beautiful because I think it's what people really signed up for when they said, I want to start a business. And when you ask like 8 out of 10, like when you say that, what do you see yourself doing? They're like helping people, like changing their lives and like just blowing their minds and stuff, And then when I get to look at how we built the business today, and the big piece of it is that's what I'm doing. There's a lot of little pieces, little dominoes that we have to click over. The first one is the perfect segue from the one you're doing. If I'm doing everything else myself, I cannot do this. I can't be on a 4-hour coaching call. That's the first thing. Number 2, I want to say you don't have to be on a 4-hour coaching call. That's purely out of desire. So my heart is in it. This is such a big piece. But if the world of coaching, content, teaching, course, membership, whatever, if your heart's not in it, why the heck are you here? Oh, because you'll make some money. You are doing it backwards. You think, oh, okay, I'll be happy once I make that money, but you're going to be miserable the whole way there. That doesn't work that way. When you do what you love and you love what you do, you unlock the money, you unlock the abundance. And, to go deeper with that, we want to look at your heart, that joy, that like, ooh, feeling excitement of, wow, that was really fun. That's your GPS for your life. The true north is guiding you to what you're here to do. So law of dharma, it's a real law, just like law of gravity, is this law that states that we're all here for a reason. You're not an accident. Your parents might have told you you were an accident, but you didn't come here purposeless. There's a function for your existence. That's pretty awesome. And even if I say that, like people start to nod their heads, they can feel that. If you're not in your head and you're like present, you're in your body, you're like, yeah, I can get behind that, right? You might not know what it is. Okay. I didn't for a long time. That was really hard for me. It's going to be hard for you. But there is a purpose. And the easiest way is really as simple as this. Like, I wish I could make it more complicated for you guys so you'd be really impressed by me and think I'm really smart. But if you just did whatever felt fun and exciting and passionate and paid attention to that, cared about that and said, okay, I mean, I come alive when I do this. Okay, let's do it. I want to do that. Okay, then just do it. Right? Like that's leading you somewhere. That's what I had going for me, is I would just get passionate about things. And I'd be like, let's just see where this leads. I didn't have to have it all figured out. I didn't have to have it perfectly packaged and manicured. It was like, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to go deeper in this. And I just kept navigating that. And that's, it's really is like today, 14 years of messing up. And that really is a huge piece of this is you really can't avoid failure to get to where you want to go. So your success is inevitable as long as you don't give up, but failure is inevitable too. It's the inevitable stepping stone to your inevitable success. So hurry up and fail already. So I love what I do and I do what I love. And I don't have my plate full with a bunch of other things. So what a joy and what a blessing. On top of that, it is being of service. Like it helps people, it's helping them. So that is really like, just makes you want to do more of it. And then on top of that, like you're attracting people that want to listen to you. You're attracting people that want to work with you. So like when you're sitting there, and you have a lot to share. I've been doing this for 14 years. I have a lot to share. I got a lot I've learned. I've got a lot to pass on to people. And I love doing that. Like, that's the thing is like, I just want to pass on what works. I just want to pass on what I've learned. And I want to pass on what's going to make a difference for somebody. And when you have a room full of people that are like hungry for that, they will give you energy. They will feed that. They will say, give us more, Adam. Let's go. And you're like, okay, I can do another hour. If you guys want to listen for another hour, I'll bring it if you will. And that's the thing is like, I want to bring my 100% to people. And then you're in flow and you're having a blast. So
and there's so much growth. I mean,
on
your part, on the people's part that are there. And you said earlier, just your vibe, how you're feeling, your vibe attracts your tribe and you guys are going to raise up together and high tides raise all ships. So that's what you're doing. And not a better guy to pave that path, man. I'm telling you, it's been an honor to see your growth over the years and to learn so much from you and also get to infuse some of your signature, your energetic signature that you implant into your trainings and all that. Pass that on, that good energy onto the world as well. So thank you, man. Thank you.
Oh, dude, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So before we go, real quick, just to tie this whole conversation together, I did want to ask one more question. If you can leave the audience with some parting advice of just, and not even advice, but just experience of helping them to get to this point of being in their heart, being in alignment, maybe even setting their intention on growth, on navigating those waters that are sometimes scary and navigating that ego that wants you to do it the ego's way. early on, how can we sum this up and wrap this up in a nice little bow for everybody? I know that's
Beautiful.
a big ask. So.
Oh yeah. No, that's simple. And anything you want me to expand upon, I'll do that for you. But I think it's very important that people answer a very simple question that most people are too afraid to answer. And it's the most important question you could answer, that you could ask yourself. And I will not accept, because go back to language, I will not accept I don't know as an answer, because that's your ego. It's total BS. You do know. Stop saying that. And the question is, what do you want? Most people don't know what they want. So when you don't know what you want, you don't have direction. You don't have intent. You're not using your power. You don't know where you're going. You're living reactively. And it's just kind of like a bag in the wind. And whatever direction the wind goes, you go. But we need to be like the rudder and the sail and the compass. And we're like, this is where I'm going. So what do you want? And one of the reasons, there's two big reasons why people can't answer that question. Number one, what they want scares them. And guess what? It should. Because the old you is going to have to die hard. Bruce Willis, 1984. Like the best movie ever, by the way. I don't know if it was 84. I'm totally kidding.
That was
80s.
Good though. I like that.
I think it was 88. 88 maybe. Someone don't quote me on that. Fact checkers coming. Yeah. Wrong. You're wrong. So the old you is going to have to die hard, really. The vengeance. And so getting clear on that. The other reason is that people muddle the what with the how. People say, I don't know how to do it, therefore I can't. Or I don't know what it's supposed to look like, so I don't know what I want. You have to be able to start somewhere. It's like this. Let's use this car analogy and we're going on vacation. Where do you want to go? I don't know. Okay. Do you want to go north, south, east, or west? Like, tell me that. Like, okay, well, we're on the coast. We're on the West Coast, so let's go east. That's a good start. Okay, great. We'll go east. Now we start driving. Now where do you want to go? Let's get more specific, but you got to start with the essence of what you want. If you can't do that, don't expect anything, okay? Next, once you're clear on what you want, and you fight for that. You got to find a way to believe in that. It's going to happen in time. It's going to happen. Your success is inevitable. So is your failure. You got to fail your way to success. So hurry up and fail. The next, you do need a plan, okay? That's important. If you're just saying like, I'm going to do it on my own, I'm going to figure it out, chances are you would have figured it out. So you need a plan. And time is valuable. Our lives are very short. And we're here to co-create and support each other. Like, you do need someone to guide you. I've had mentors, coaches. I still am learning, buying courses, educating myself. Like, you wouldn't believe, it's one of my little secret to successes. I have a growth student, learner, beginner mindset. I am constantly learning, constantly. In the last 30 days, I've bought $5,000 worth of digital products. So, it's just like, it's no excuse. People are like, I'm so sick of learning. It's like, well, you better get really sick of it, because it should never stop. I think we were told a lie that once you graduate and get a degree or diploma, that the learning stops. And it's like, are you kidding me? And this kind of goes back to what I was saying before, is like, there's not just beliefs, but there's skills. And when you first do some of the stuff that we're going to share with you and teach you, you're going to suck at it. You're going to be awful. Like, here, go pitch your offer right now. Go sell. You know what I mean? Go do your Facebook Live and get everyone to buy. It's like, the first time you do that, it's going to be bad. Might as well just get the worst one out of the way. True. But that's a skill. It comes with time. If I've said anything, you're like, wow, I really liked how he said it, or he communicated better. I've been doing this for 14 years. I just have a lot of practice. Nothing special, but I'm willing to do it. I'm stubborn AF. I'm very committed. I'm very consistent. I just show up, I show up, and I show up, and I show up. And you're going to need to do that too. So you need a plan you can follow. What do I need to do? What are the steps that I need to take? So I know where I want to go, and I have a plan. And then the last piece is going to be, how are you going to get yourself out of your way? And that's a big one. That's a lifetime journey. You're always getting in your own way. You might as well just kind of start with that. How am I sabotaging myself today? How am I putting the brakes on myself? And the big way that a lot of people are doing it right now when they're like kind of just getting started and getting going is the imposter syndrome kind of stuff. Who am I to be doing this is a question that's driving you. So here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to write that question down. Who am I to be doing this? Just write it down. Who am I? You know, and you'll see who are like the really committed and like serious coachable students, because some people will just be like, okay, I'll pretend.
I did it in my head.
I did it in my head. That's the same. It's like, well, if I say you need a plan and you need a coach or a mentor to tell you what to do, and then you like don't do what they're telling you, it's like maybe that's kind of the problem, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So you write it down. I want you to say it out loud 3 times. And you want to notice how you feel when you say something like that, or when you ask a question like that. Who am I to be doing this? For most people, when you do that, there's no answer to the question that you like. It presupposes that you're not someone who can do this. It's not a good question, folks. Questions drive your life. And this question is driving your business into the ground, and you didn't even know it. So who am I to be doing this? Say it 3 times. Breathe in full breath in between every time. Notice how you feel. Who am I to be doing this? And then we want to write a new one. We want to cross that out. We need a new question. I can give you some examples of questions, but here's the thing is it's got to work for you. It's got to be something that says that I can get behind. So try this one out. Who can I help today?
Mm.
Who can I help today? Different question, different outcome, completely different direction in your life. It's like that analogy of the plane leaving LAX to go to JFK, and it's 1 degree off and it ends up hundreds of miles off course. This is where it starts, folks. Who can I help today? What can I share today that will make a difference? How can I be of service? How can I show up? Who can I show up for today?
Yeah.
It's already outcome oriented.
Yeah.
These thoughts, these questions are driving your life.
You want to know my question off the start?
Yeah.
Why can't I break through?
Ugh.
Whew.
Yeah.
Talk about a disempowering question all day long.
Totally.
That was my context. That was where I'm working from. So of course I'm not going to break through if that's my reality.
Because all it's reinforcing is I can't break through.
Mm-hmm.
Presupposition.
Yep.
It's what do I need to learn that before I can break through would already be a better one. You don't need to make a giant leap.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like, what do I need to learn that I haven't learned so that I can break through? What am I missing that will allow me to break through? What is the opportunity here that I can't see yet, that I haven't been able to see yet, so I can finally break through?
And I like that you shine the light on how can I help one person today? Who can I help today? How can I help even more people today? Right? You take it outside of yourself and start coming from the heart.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So who am I to be doing this? You're asking a really bad question because it's an endless answer with who you are. You don't even know who you are. You could fill a library with that answer. Who am I? Because how much, Adam, have you learned about who you are in the last year versus the year before and the year before that? You don't think you're going to learn more about who you are?
Wow.
And it's so, who can I be today for somebody else? Try that one on. Who can I be today for someone else? Who can I be to do this? So who am I to do this? Or who can I be to make this happen? Simple shifts.
Yep.
And if any one of these works for you, try it on. If it works for you, other than keeping you safe, to say, who am I to be doing this? Who am I to tell you to do something different? But I don't want to tell anyone what to do, but if I can give you a better tool, use it, right? But only you can do that. I can't do that. Adam and I can be like your personal trainer. We can tell you here, do 10 push-ups. We can't do your push-ups for you. And that's what people don't get. They kind of expect like someone's just going to like magically create their business for them. And it's like, only each of us can do our own work. But you don't want it any other way, because when you do make it happen, when you do finally get to share that story on stage and have that success like I did, you get to have that moment of looking back and say, I did this. Like I made this happen. I did the work. I did everything it took in my power. I stayed committed. I said no to the distractions. I said yes to my future, to my business, my dreams, even when it meant the sacrifice of Netflix and, you know, going out and partying and all the whatevers that people do. I did this. That sense of like, wow, ownership, pride, accomplishment. That's what we're doing this for. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I did this. I made this happen and I'm helping people.
yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
That's amazing. But
Yep.
only one can do.
Yeah. And you told me at one point too, that you kind of went from a standpoint of like wanting to prove, right, which got you going, but then you started getting these messages, James, you changed my life. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Breakthrough after breakthrough. And that's like, whoa, I kind of like this feeling of these, helping these people.
That doesn't
right?
get old. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's something that any entrepreneur can look forward to. And I'm the same way now. It's just like, I just want to help even more, right? I want to get them little love notes even more. It's a selfish thing, but it's also an unselfish thing, right? So it is the yin and the yang there. So it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful balance.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Totally.
So cool, man. Thank you so much for all this, all your wisdom and guidance. And thank you for blazing a trail. I mean, you really are a trailblazer, and you're allowing us early stage entrepreneurs to, you know, not have to figure everything out for themselves, because there's a lot to figure out. You really have done an amazing job of,
I'm still figuring things out.
Yes. And there's a lot, and you filter that back to us, your students. So that's a beautiful thing. So
the dumber I get and the less I do, the more I make.
The absent-minded professor, right?
Man, seriously, guys, but the less I do, the more I make, the less smarter I am. Like I keep things simple. People want to get smart and complicated. And it's like, no, guys, come back to simplicity and you'll be just fine. I still have so many things to figure out about business. There's so many things I don't know. People ask me questions like, oh, what do you think? Are you doing LinkedIn ads to the blah, 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 opt-in, upside, da, da, da. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
The LinkedIn does ads now? Okay.
Yeah. It's like, that's awesome. I don't know everything. And I never want to tell people I know. I know a few things really well. I'm really good at helping people sell their digital products and scale that type of business.
Yep.
And keep it simple.
Yep. Yep. And then tracing my entrepreneur journey back to that fateful day in 2016 when I clicked that enroll button and committed to myself at a different level, I felt a transformation in that moment. And it's cool looking back at all the navigations and the ups and downs and all around since that standpoint, but I knew I was in a great place. I was surrounded by amazing entrepreneurs, amazing leader, had a program that was getting me, you know, on the ground running. So if that's any of you guys, you're still in kind of stalled out and you don't really know, and you don't know how to, you know, launch and put yourself out there and show up differently, then take a look at what James has created. I mean, it's a flagship program amongst flagship programs out there. So it's one to be taken seriously. So
thanks, buddy.
So thank you, man. So anytime, you know, we're going to have you back on the podcast hundreds of times. We're going to be old men talking about some stuff. So
plenty more to talk about.
I know this to be true. So, but yet again, thank you, man. And the listeners out there, let us know real quick. I know you're on the Instagrams a lot and, you know, sharing some fun stuff behind the scenes with your van builds and what you're up to now. Oh, I got to ask one more question. I just have to.
Sure.
So it used to be out in California, you were surfing every day. Right?
I get this question all the time.
Oh, do you? Yeah. Okay. I actually don't think I've heard this quite yet. So, and now you're, you know, working on your van and, you know, you got your hands in some Airbnb. So is it a hobby that kind of just like fuels this, or is it the other way around? Is the business just kind of like fueling what you want to do, or both? Like where can we take this from a standpoint of finding something in our lives to infuse our energy that's going to supplement and create even more energy to give?
I think I understand the question. I thought you were going to go a little different because I made such a radical shift and went from like California surfer to going out in the desert. And people keep asking me like, do you miss surfing? Like, what's life like out there? I did. I moved from California out here. And the reason I moved to Sedona is like, when we first came here, my heart melted. I was in love, like seriously. And I was like, before we got to our hotel, I was like, how do we move here? And, long version, again, questions driving your life? Great question. Live in the question, be in the question. Don't answer the question. Have the courage to ask, have the courage to say, I don't know yet, but I'm ready to receive. People say, I don't know, therefore I can't. How do you move? How could I live here? I don't know. It's not possible. Forget it. F you, don't have dreams. You know, like, no, I sat in the question. Okay. And it wasn't until we realized, like, we started talking to it, you start taking action. People are waiting to take action once they have clarity. Backwards. Action gives you clarity. Action causes clarity. So I started taking action. What did I start doing? I started looking at Zillow every day. Habits, Zillow, putting it into my reticular activating system, put my attention on it. Just start visualizing, just start staying in the energy and the possibility of it. So this is how it started, right? This is 5 years ago. Have some freaking patience, folks. 5 years. Okay. And it all just happened a year ago. But I was dreaming. I was having fun. That's a key word there, the F word. And it wasn't until we started talking to an agent and I was just telling her my situation and said, maybe we could just look at homes and I don't know, maybe if we see something, blah, blah, blah. And then she just flippantly says, well, you know, a lot of my clients just get an Airbnb and then they rent it out when they're not staying there and it pays the mortgage. And I was like, oh, so that's how we could live out there. So she gave me the answer and I was like, that's it. And then long story short, COVID hit. As soon as I closed escrow, people were like, oh my goodness, are you okay? Like, you must be effed. Like, you just bought a home to rent out on Airbnb as soon as COVID hit. And it was really weird. You know, today I trust my gut a lot. And I was like, for some bizarre reason, I am not worried at all. And things have actually exploded out here because more people would rather stay in an Airbnb than a hotel. So like, and a lot of people want to come to Sedona now. So like, I followed my gut and it was right on. So no one ever said, oh, biggest mistake I made was listening to my gut. I should have overthought my way to success. I should have worried more. Darn it. Why didn't I worry? You know, worrying is the secret to success. And so I ended up buying 4 because I had a lot of fun. Yeah. And then we're doing a camper van build. Yeah. And I think we're going to like do a whole thing where we rent those out and stuff. So we've created a second company that's like Arizona, Sedona, like tourism getaway kind of stuff. And so the camper van too is something we can like rent out because there's a whole trend thing. So here's my answer. And you tell me if I'm still not answering your question. Sure. It's very important to me that I'm having fun. Yeah. Okay. Fun is very important to me. And I think it should be important to everybody in your own way, however you define fun. But I want to have fun with everything that I do, including this business. So I keep things fun. And part of the fun is I need a little variety. Yeah. I want to do different stuff. I want to be challenged. I want to learn new things. So the camper van, I'm building a home. It's a home on wheels. Plumbing, heating, electrical, furnishing, cabinets, flooring, roof, you know, like, oh my goodness. It's pushing me, but it's fun. And I'm choosing to have fun. I choose to have fun in this business and I choose to diversify and look at other areas and get into other things. And that's what I want to do is I'm having fun. It's disciplined. You know, I have goals, I have numbers and I'm profitable and all those things. I'm smart about all of it, but it's all fun. It's all like a really fun game to me. Yeah. And I think that's really important. I think people take all this way too seriously. They get way too stressed. They go and cover themselves in a shame shower every time something doesn't go their way. And it's like, you're just not going to get where you want to go from that place. Yeah. You got to be fun. You really just don't give an F about this. Don't put too much importance on it. Instead, put your love into it, put your energy into it, put your fun into it. Like when people see me and they see what we do, they see that I don't take it too seriously. It's like a bizarre, it's almost going to sound like a paradox, but I've found a way to master that paradox. Like I care immensely about the people's lives that come across my little bubble of the world. Like when we're working, I want to do everything from my level 100% to be of service to you. And that I take very seriously. But if I make a mistake or broken link or say the wrong thing, I'm having fun and I don't take myself too seriously. And if this feels too buttoned up and corporate-y, like that's not me. That's not who I am. Like let's make a joke. Let's have fun. Let's do an impersonation. Let's whatever. And everything's that's going to happen is going to happen. And if you don't like that, then that's great. I'm not going to change who I am for somebody else. Like that's tragic. Why would I do that?
Yep.
So I think it's important that when I say things like do what you love and love what you do, that you don't lose sight of that. That part of loving what you do is fun. It's like, I'm having a blast. This doesn't feel like work. And that's like all those quotes you've always heard. It's like, when you do that, it doesn't feel like work. Exactly. And that's how you're supposed to live your life. Because the reality is, when you look at your timeline of life, if you go and get a job, it's like, all right, from 22 until 60, you're working. It's like 2/3 of your life. So what are you going to do for that time period? Something that makes you miserable and sucks the life out of you, or something that gives you life? This gives me life. Like, wait a second. My day is I get to hop on a podcast with Adam and just like talk about whatever we want. That's my life. That's my job. What? That's amazing. Are you kidding me? And I've done a lot of these podcasts. My own podcast is 470 episodes. I've done a lot. It doesn't get old because I choose to have fun.
Yep.
I choose to explore other topics and keep it new for me. It's like, some people go, oh, I'm so sick of talking about blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, either get a hobby, right?
True.
Or, choose to enjoy it or stop complaining. But you start resenting your business. You start getting unhappy. You got to really look at that, because that's not going to make you money. That's going to push business away. Trust me on that.
Yeah. Nailed it, man. That's beautiful. And just to end on that note, because I can see this, and I'll phrase this question to the listeners as well. What % of the time are you having fun? Let's just not even say in business, in your life. And and what I'm seeing right here is there's probably, if you were working all day long, or if you just were done working and then you're reading or something, it's like, oh, you like to learn, it is fun, but you really get to get your hands in stuff. You're enjoying what you're doing. You're really expanding just how this whole world works, which to me is fun. And so that's going to infuse everything else you're doing. But there's going to be this certain point where people are working and they feel like they need to work more. It switches from fun into scarcity and need and push and hustle. And that's going to burn you out.
It will.
So find something. And if you're having fun 12 hours a day working, I ain't going to tell you to do anything
exactly
different.
Yeah, because it doesn't feel like work. And some days we do that. When we go into launch season, they're long days.
Yep.
My most special memories from last year was our launch last year. We all came out to Sedona. You're working hard, but you're playing hard. We're having fun. It was fantastic. And that's the thing. We all have to do things. Like, I'm not Pollyanna, like blind to it. It's like, I've been doing this a long time. We all have to do things you don't want to do. Okay. You got to pay taxes and stuff like that. It's like, but if that's 5-10% so that you can go back to loving it and it's something that you love, it sounds so simple and we hear it all the time that it runs the risk of being like cliche, but it's like, when have you heard it and then said, okay, but am I really doing that? And then had the courage to be honest with yourself. And I'm telling you, if you don't like it, that means it's not going to work.
Yeah. And
that means there is something out there that will work, but you're not listening to your heart. You're listening to your head. And when you're in your head, you're overthinking, overanalyzing, and over-worrying. And doing all that stuff doesn't get you where you want to go.
Yeah.
So today it's like, you know what? We're having fun. I don't take this stuff too seriously, but I always give my 100%. And I like to have variety. So to be building out Airbnbs and, you're playing business, you're having fun, you're setting all these things up and automating this and tracking that. I was like, what a blast. What a joy. And I can do all this other stuff today because of what I've done in this business.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that, yet again, thank you for paving the way, and you guys go have some fun. Let's mix it up. Let's change some lives out there and help some people. So James, tell us the Instagram handle and all that. And,
sure.
Depending on when the listeners are listening to this, James has got Business by Design opening again. I'm telling you, I'm going to be doing some more videos about this personally, how I can go back to that point in time and see how much change has evolved from my decision to get enrolled in Business by Design and start hanging out with Mr. James a little bit more. So tell us a little bit.
Yeah. So in Instagram, I'm James Wedmore, just my name, JamesWed as in dog, MORE, James Wedmore. And what we have coming up, June 17th, we're doing a live virtual workshop training class. It's 3 parts. We're going to get to spend a couple hours live together. And basically the most simplest version, the way I can show you how this is going to help you. Here we are. We've been doing this for 14 years. Today it's 8 figures selling digital products. We've been able to help a lot of people. And we just pull back the curtain and show people how we built the business around it. The thing is, a lot of people are giving sales and marketing advice, and that's wonderful, very great, important, but not business advice. And you got to have that too. You got to know how to run this like a business. Otherwise it's going to run you into the ground. And so we show you how to run this like a business. We pull the curtain back and we say, this is how you set up a business. And it's important. This is so important because most people are doing it themselves. They're completely overwhelmed and overworked, and they don't have any results to show for it. So I'm not just about teaching you things. I'm about getting you to be increasing and improving your results through higher levels of performance, business performance, personal performance. So there's a lot we're going to go over, and it's all called the rise of the digital CEO, because you're going to see when I teach you the way of the digital CEO, the digital CEO knows how to run a business a lot better than entrepreneurs do, and employees. Entrepreneurs are great for starting business, but most of them really don't know how to run a business. They keep breaking it and rebuilding and breaking. They can't get out of that startup phase. That's why a lot of like Silicon Valley's entrepreneurs, they end up not becoming the CEO of the company. They end up becoming kicked out of their own startups. I mean, even just look at Steve Jobs. Like, he was fired from Apple, right? Way back in the 80s or whenever it was when it was taking off. They had to bring him back. But you know what I mean? Is like, there's a skill set to be taught on how to actually run a business so that it's not running you. And this is needed. Yeah. So needed. So we're gonna show you how that's done.
Yep. And you're sharing the things that's moving the needle. We're not teaching people how to change the Instagram bio and things like that.
No, I don't. I go to the highest
website and
I go to the highest level, most important stuff that you guys need. I'm not just trying to like fill airtime.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, this is the 5% that produces 95% of the results you want.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So thank you, man. Thank you yet again for your time. Great episode here, and more to come. So we'll definitely be sharing more about the progress ahead. And I'm going to be involved in some of James's, launch, and I'm going to be sharing my own stuff behind the scenes. So you guys keep having fun out there. Watch what Mr. James is doing. Check out his Instagram. He has a lot of fun over there. So just watching that, you're going to get some inspiration. But other than that, thank you so much, James, for being here and all that you do. And from the bottom of my heart,
buddy.
I mean that. So
I appreciate you so much. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Adam Kiddoo podcast. If you would take a moment to subscribe and click the bell icon so that way you get notified when future episodes air. Now, here's the thing. If you are looking for the show notes, you can find a link to those below. If you're looking for the handles of the guests that I've been interviewing, things of that nature, you'll find that here. And if there's anything else that stood out to you in the episode, or if there's anything I can do for you, please leave a comment below, or for sure message me on Instagram if you'd like, as I'm always looking to hear what's working well for you and what caught your interest about the Adam Kiddoo podcast. So, time to go, time to change the world, time to help more people. Are you ready? Let's go do this thing. The world needs more leaders. So thanks again for listening to the Adam Kiddoo podcast.